What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle, and today's video is a follow-up to the Mythic Games Kickstarter thing for Darkest Dungeon, the board game. I made a video on this last week. If you haven't watched it, go check that out, but it was in response to update 111, where Mythic, kind of out of the blue, just swung in and they said, hey, we need an extra payment for shipping because shipping costs are up. And just to quickly recap the video, because, you know, I don't want to spend too much time on it, the video focused on 3 points. One, it was Red Hook's potential involvement because everyone assumed that Red Hook was like entirely on board with everything they were asking, and Red Hook also paid in $100 grand to help subsidize. It's a word we've been using lately because of this update, but to help pay for the costs, Red Hook threw in $100,000. The other thing we were talking about is why didn't we get the information sooner? Because they're only giving us about a week and a half to pay for this at the time anyway, as well as the money they're requesting didn't line up with how much they would actually be getting. So there's a discrepancy. The third and final thing was to raise the question about what would happen to your game if you chose not to pay. This is the point of contention everyone had with that video. As per the comments, and I'm not going to relitigate everything, but in short, the reason I said that, or that they would sell your game if you didn't pay for it, was because of what they said here. We will store your game for as long as possible. So what does that mean, right? They could do a lot of things with it. And they already talked about when they have overstock, which would be sold on their eShop. So we knew they had plans for the eShop. They said they wouldn't hold your game forever. It is a logical conclusion to assume that after enough time, they would end up selling it, okay? Doesn't mean they wouldn't reprint yours potentially in the future if they still had the ability to. But what I'm saying is that this happens with pretty much every business, right? And to assume differently is naive, and I'm not trying to insult anyone when I say that, but that's to assume that a business won't sell its product if someone doesn't pick up a copy. Like if they won't sell it to someone else, that's just not how they operate. So that's why I said what I said. And as I said, I'm done talking about it. Even some of the people that disagreed with me ended up agreeing with me begrudgingly after, you know, discussion had passed. But that's really what it comes down to. For instance, if you pre-order a video game at GameStop, they may try and contact you. They may email you, call you, whatever, and say, are you coming to pick this up? But if you never show up to get it, they're going to sell it to someone else. And then when you come by, you know, whenever, they'll either give it to you if they have it, or they'll give you store credit. You know, they're not going to hold it indefinitely because that's cash they're leaving behind. And that's just not how a business operates. So with that in mind, to also show that I'm even-handed in my analysis here, the update here is much better than the previous one, and they sound very apologetic. They're saying they're sorry, deepest apologies, they're thanking us. A lot of hat in hand type of dialogue, and you know, that's good to see. This personally doesn't matter too much to me. I don't want to be thanked, I don't want to be apologized to, I just want them to get me my game. But I understand that I'm probably in the minority opinion on that, and so for them to apologize is still a good thing. So I know a lot of people took this to heart, so it's good that they did it. And we're going to dissect this update a bit more. Okay, so very cool minis. We're always happy to see them. And that's a very long chain for Avon, by the way. About how long that move is, though. So for the shipments, so they apologize to us first. They say that over half of us have already made the second follow-up payment. I am among them. And we'll be getting our games, the first parts of our games, soon. They said it's going to leave China around the 15th of August. So about 2 weeks. The nice thing that they did is that they extended the date to contribute to August 7th. So you have an extra week. And I'm sure this will help out some people because if they have, you know, expected checks coming depending on their jobs, they may get paid at weird times. You know, I've worked jobs where I get paid like bi-weekly or monthly and stuff like that. So I understand this gives you more time to budget for rent, which is usually the first of the month and stuff. So there are a lot of good things to extend the deadline. This is a good thing. The issue I have with the wording of this update, although they do say some nice things and they're apologetic and all that, they say that their previous update was perceived as being ill-timed and poorly worded. It wasn't perceived that way. It was that way. It was poorly timed and it was poorly worded. Just take the L on that. So I want to tackle the reactions it caused. Like, this is putting the onus on us for reacting to it instead of them just saying we're sorry for what we said. Like, they're not taking responsibility or taking fault here. But again, they did apologize. So I'm not gonna, I don't know, put them on the cross, so to speak, for this. So, but they're talking about what would happen if you couldn't pay. So I'm very sure that if they didn't watch my video, they at least heard a lot of the feedback chatter, and I tweeted my video to them. They didn't answer. I didn't expect them to, but I did tweet it to them because I wanted them to know that people were watching and people like me that had platforms were covering it. Okay, I'm not the only person that covered them either. Yes, they said your Wave 1 products are coming out, and then if you contribute after the Wave 1 date, so after August 7th, your Wave 1 products will be on the next container leaving China. So whenever they make another shipment, it'll be there. And they anticipate sending several rounds of containers throughout the year. That's good. So you'll have multiple chances to get the first half of your game. Actually, for many people, this is probably, actually no, a lot of us got the Ancestral. So there's a bracket of, 6,000 people or whatever it is where they're going to get the shipment and it's done. So that's cool. If you're unable to make a contribution, you do not forfeit your game. We'll store your Wave 1 products and do our utmost to take advantage of other opportunities to get your products in containers to our distribution hubs. We'll keep looking for opportunities and keep you updated. If we have a definitive opportunity, we will tell you all immediately. So this is where probably the people that had issue with what I said are going like checkmate Shuff, and honestly, not really. Just because, like, this is actually kind of weird. Because it's good that your game's not forfeit. Right? I was asking the question, and I was making an assumption that they would sell your game if you never came to get it. That's a logical assumption to make based on what they said and how businesses operate. You don't forfeit your game. I have no doubt of that. I have no doubt that they will eventually get you a copy of the game. None of these are engraved personally, like some other Kickstarters do, where they put your name on it. They give you a certificate number, like, you have copy 147. They're not doing that with this. So it's like they're not going to resell your game and then they sell it to someone, named Bethany, and the name on it is, Timothy. I don't know, right? So that's good. You still have a chance to get your game. Just depends on when you're going to get it. But the thing that's weird too is a lot of the people that talked about this being Kickstarter and the rules of Kickstarter, and they're not obligated to actually get you anything because it's not a business and all these other things that people, were trying to tell me, which is a whole other discussion to have. It's interesting that they are making an assurance that you get a copy of the game. So kind of begs the question, is it Kickstarter or is it a business? What obligations do they have? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate, but it's interesting to read that difference there and to ask that question, at least to me. And so they talked about, this is where I'm starting to have some issues with the update itself, right? I'm happy that they're trying to guarantee that you get your game, right? I'm not gonna talk down on that. And if everything works out, because that's ultimately what it is. I want everyone to get what they paid for and not have an issue past the issues we've had now. That is what I want, okay? I'm not anyone's enemy except Mythic's if they want to consider me one, which I'm just talking here, okay? The extra costs, there have been some confusions about the nature of the additional costs we've incurred. I don't think there's any confusion about the nature of the cost. We all understand shipping has gone up. This is an article I pulled up pretty quickly, and I'm assuming it's accurate. It seems valid. And this is kind of in line with what I've heard. After I made that video, a lot of people were telling me that shipping costs from China have gone down, which is also why the timing of it and the amount and all that is a bit suspicious. But I'm going to take them at their word. We all know shipping costs have gone up. The cost of everything has just gone up. That's the nature of the world we live in. It sucks, and I'm not penalizing Mythic for having unforeseen cost. The other thing too that I'll give to Mythic, if I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, is that this game was their biggest project that they've had. It probably went well past what they expected in terms of scope with producing and shipping. And so it might have caught them unaware. I could see that happening. And so they're kind of scrambling. I could see that happening, right? I'm not going to fault them for that. Shipping costs came out of nowhere, kind of crazy considering the times we have. But what's interesting is that shipping costs have gone down. They kind of come back up and then go back down. But ever since the end of last year here, they have been relatively consistent. This is pretty volatile, right? We go up and then we drop and then we go back up and then we drop like really sharply. This is by like several $1,000s at a time. And then this here is within the range of about probably 1,000, kind of dips to maybe like 1,500. It comes up pretty sharply here. But then after that, it's about between like a few hundred to like 1.5 thousand. Compared to this, which is literally a double, like a spike that doubles your shipping costs from like, you know, mid last year to this year. So I understand, right? But that means, or that also asks the question of the costs for the last update they gave us. Are these going to hold? Like, are these going to be the same costs next month? This wasn't answered. All right. So my point there is we understand this point they're saying. There's no confusion that the extra cost is in shipping and production. There's no confusion about that. The confusion surrounding this point is, will the shipping costs be the same if they, or I should say the payments they want, will the payments be the same next year, presumably if the prices go down? Like, is that going to change? They don't talk about that. They don't answer that question. So that question remains to be seen, or remains to be answered, I should say. But otherwise, I would hope that it goes down. I don't mind paying, like, I'm not so self-centered to think that I don't care about paying. I ended up paying 46, by the way. So I don't care about paying this much now and then having this be 30 next year. I don't care about that. That's great. You know, if other people hold out and get it cheaper, that's great. I don't care about that. So hopefully it does go down for everyone, not just us, right? Mythic wants those costs to go down as well. But we don't know if the shipping cost is going to be the same. They said, they repeated this here, or maybe I covered this at the start actually. So they, said that their last update was perceived as being ill-timed and poorly worded. And I believe I said, unless I messed up that take, that it wasn't actually perceived that way, it was that way. So I really wish that they, took more responsibility in their thing here. VAT, this is something I know what value-added tax is. I don't know how it pertains to this campaign, so I'm not going to speculate. All of our friends abroad, outside of the US, who deal with value-added tax, feel free to educate me and others in the comments. Like I said, I know what it is. It's an extra like tax on things. You know, it's very generic, but But I don't know how it pertains to this specific thing. And then beware of rumors. The next relevant point here is the refund request. And they're saying they're putting a hold on refund requests, but they're trying to process them. And it sounds like they're doing it by hand. So hopefully all the people that are trying to get out of it are able to do so. And this is definitely a case of they will sell your game if you get a refund. So if you end up refunding it, they're going to put it on the eShop, like no questions asked, right? Like we all understand that that's what's going to happen, but it's not a bad thing. The person pulled out, they got their money back, and then they resell it because that's just what happens, right? There are no issues with that. Right? I don't really care. The other relevant parts of the update here are that they said that Red Hook has approved the Wave 2 minis, I guess. So they look great. These are really cool pictures. Very excited to see them. I will paint them on stream and stuff, but that I think is the update where we are now. And so the comments too, you scroll all the way down. The comments for this one are much better. Like people are asking the relevant questions. Some people are still mad. $807 into this game. That I can't even imagine. That's like what, 2 ancestral pledges plus shipping. It's a lot. So, but other, a lot of these that I've seen them, you know what? When I checked this yesterday, The comments were much nicer, but some of the people are still upset. So I think this one's mixed, but I definitely don't feel as many torch and pitchforks. I can't even say it. Torch and pitchforks being out for this one as last time. So, but otherwise, that's where we're at. I found their YouTube channel so I could watch their live streams too. At some point, I might do that. We'll see what happens there, but that's the video. Thanks for watching. If you want to talk about some stuff that I said in the previous video, I'm not responding to it, and let me know what you're thinking down below about what I said. All right, looking good. We're done. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.